What's up? Welcome back to the channel. This is Everyone's Game, and I am Annalisa. This is going to be the first fantasy sport that we're doing outside of fantasy football, and this is the Formula One fantasy platform. We're going to be picking five drivers and a constructor. I don't do motorsports, so we brought in Michael, and he's going to be somewhat judging our team and possibly helping with the transfers in and out for the rest of the Formula Fantasy season, which goes from March to December. So, what we're going to do today is pick our team. We're allowed to pick three teams. And like I said before, we have drivers and constructors, and Michael will explain the difference for us briefly.
Each team is a constructor, and that's essentially the person that makes the car. So there's Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, Aston Martin, etc. Um, and essentially, each team has two drivers that compete throughout the season. So it's 10 teams, 20 cars, 20 drivers, and they are awarded points throughout the season based on where they finish in the races. And at the end of the season, that's how we get our world champion and our world constructor champion.
What you're seeing right now on the screen is just the leagues. I'm already entered into the global league. I'm entered into the Mercedes league. I'll be changing my country because I'm not a Canadian. I'll be entering different leagues as well. So we're gonna go into the teams, and like I said before, you're allowed to pick three teams. Not all of the leagues allow you to enter all three of your teams. So what my current strategy is to have a really strong team, a team that is very differential. So it would have drivers that aren't highly selected. However, they seem to be good drivers based on their stats. And then a random team just because. So we're going to build my team that I think is going to be the most balanced, my team that is possibly going to be my best team. And then Michael will also show us his team. So when I was selecting my team, I wanted to have racers that not only finish between first and 10th, but also racers that can get additional points for little things, because I think everyone is going to have the top drivers. And in order for me to have an edge, I need to have drivers that collect points for the little things. I also need to have drivers that don't lose out for the little things, like not finishing a race or being
Mhm.
disqualified for some reason or something. So I'm gonna go into my first selection, and the pricing. There's a budget of 100 million, and we're gonna go with Lewis Hamilton, because I've already realized there are two big boys in this entire racing scene, and it's either going to be Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen. So Lewis Hamilton is priced higher. I'm going to add him. One of the reasons why I did select Lewis Hamilton over Max Verstappen is his did not finish statistic. He didn't finish one of the races, so that was a minus
And
15.
that is
However,
because Max took him out.
okay. However, when I looked at Max and his minus points, he didn't finish two races. So it's a small difference. However, it makes a big difference in terms of the overall points that I want to collect. So I went with Lewis. And the second person I put in was actually Lewis's ex-partner, and I put him in. I know Michael is going to say it's a worst car, etc. However, I put him in because I think if he was racing for Mercedes, which is one of the best teams, then
Hmm.
he has the experience and he has the ability. And also I do believe he can get points for beating his partner, because before he would have been racing against Lewis. However, I don't know if teams tell whichever player that, okay, we want Lewis to win this race or whatever. But I think because he is coming in with all this experience, he has the ability to beat his teammate more. I'm not even sure
His
who his teammate
his
is.
teammate His teammate is Guan Yu Zhou, and he's a rookie. So this is actually his first season in F1. So more than likely, he's gonna beat him
And I
at
can get
everything.
points from that.
Yes,
All right, so that's one of the reasons why I've decided to go for
Bottas.
Bottas. I know, like you're gonna say, it's not, it's possible. Like he's in a weaker car, so it's not a strong pick. However, this is why I'm picking him. I think he can get me points. And the next person I'm gonna go for is Lando Norris. I'm picking him because he has a YouTube channel. I don't know, like people like
He has a
players,
whole streaming brand
yeah, you know,
called
like players and players, I mean footballers or racers, anyone who is very personable and who seems likable on and off the pitch, I tend to gravitate towards. So I've watched some of his videos long before this, and I'm like, well, I think I want him just because I follow him on YouTube, you know? So that's one of the reasons. I don't know who's gonna be better between him and his partner, but he also didn't finish one race, which is possibly better than his partner. I'm not too sure. Let's see. His partner didn't finish one race. So technically I can't really justify why I'm taking Lando Norris. He is
now.
also more expensive.
Lando, he's more expensive, and so a little bit of history. Lando has been at McLaren for I think the past 2 or 3 years. Daniel only came in last year, and he struggled a lot, especially in the first half of the season because he was not accustomed to the car.
Okay.
So although the same speed, different cars are built differently. So Lando is more accustomed to how McLaren sets up the car, how the car performs. But that doesn't discount Daniel because Daniel is a great driver. So it's gonna see because Daniel
Okay.
actually won a race last year, whereas
Lando
Lando
didn't.
didn't at all. Lando came second, so it was a
Okay.
1-2.
Another reason is if you look at the points, Daniel Ricciardo, he has 333, and I think Lando had 498, which is, I can't really do maths, but that's at least
It's a good one.
150 points
More,
more
yeah.
than Daniel Ricciardo. So I'm going to add Lando Norris. Then my next, I'm going to go to this guy, Kevin Magnuson, because he is priced the cheapest, and I already know which car I'm gonna take because there seems, like I said before, there seems to be two big boys. There seems to be 2 to 3 big cars, and they're all very expensive. So I'm just gonna take the cheapest driver to accommodate because I have no idea how he performs, and there's also no stats from him because he would not have been in the last season.
hmm
So
So Magnussen has actually been racing for a long time. He took the team quote unquote fired him at the end of the 2020 season, and because one of their drivers from last
he's
year is a
Russian, yeah.
Russian, he got sacked
We're not
as
going to
well.
talk about the Russian scenario because I totally
Yeah, yeah.
disagree. But
But yeah, so they called back up Magnussen simply because he's experienced. He knows the team, he understands how the team works. So they want that experienced driver to partner their inexperienced driver, share his knowledge and whatever. And because it's a
right,
new era and it's essentially a brand new car, the experienced driver is gonna be able to help the engineers understand the car better and give them better feedback as to how the car is performing and in different areas they could improve.
which also means he can get more points than Mick.
That make highly
That
likely, yeah.
all right. So I'm gonna skip to the car, and then whatever is left, I'll choose the last driver because currently we have Hamilton, Bottas, Norris, Magnussen, one more driver to select, and the car. I'm not gonna choose Mercedes because I already covered points with Hamilton. Red Bull seem it, I don't think I could afford a driver um if I do Red Bull.
6 mil you could get, I think,
I
one
can
driver.
get
I think you could get
I can't
Schnick. Yeah, you
because
could get Mick.
I already have Magnuson and I
Yeah.
don't have the point 0.5 for Mick. which means I need to go down in
car.
right. And the thing is, one thing that already shows me the difference between the cars are the prices. We have 34, 32, 25, and then it goes to 18. I remember looking at the points. Mercedes had 1,248 points, whereas Red Bull had 1,191. Right, so that's just
Hmm.
50 points below of Mercedes. And then we have Ferrari with 794. First of all, that's at least 400 points less than Red
Yep.
Bull. And then McLaren 690 something, so that's 100. So if I have to already sacrifice points from the cars, I don't want it to be lower than third place, basically, which leaves me with 13.5, and I would rather just use up the entirety of the budget. And that's this guy. Why am I picking
Pierre
him?
Gasly.
No clue. No clue why I'm picking him, to be honest. But
No, but
I don't like that. I
Pierre,
know this. I don't like this. I don't like that he didn't finish 3 races. That's 45
and
points.
that's because of the car, and I think he got crashed out in one of the races.
Okay.
So that's why picking a good car, or at least the driver or who he drives for, is important. So one thing with cars, aside from just crashing, is how reliable the car is and the constructor. So with Red Bull and Mercedes, you hardly ever see them not finish a race because the engine blow up or some hydraulic system fail or something like that. Whereas with the lower teams, you might have problems whereby the car catches a fire during the race, so the brakes overheat, or some kind of problem like that. Pierre Gasly himself is a great driver. He used to drive for Red Bull, but he's been driving really great at AlphaTauri. He's won a couple races for them while there, so he's a great driver. The only thing I would think is his downfall is the car underneath him and its reliability. But as I
Okay.
said, they share parts, so they have a reliable engine because they're using the same engine as Red Bull. So he should be able to do a
Okay.
lot this season.
Okay. Well, overall, this is a team. We have Hamilton, Bottas, Norris, Magnussen, Gasly, and Ferrari as the car. Nothing left as the budget. And we have to pick turbo driver, which is captaining a driver. And the twist is the driver must cost less than 20 million. So I want Lando Norris to be my turbo driver. And yeah, I think that's my team. I have my other teams selected already, and those teams are just like fun teams, I suppose. All right, so that's my team. So that has been my first ever Formula One fantasy team selection. I hope it is a strong team, a strong enough team to put up a decent and respectable rank for this season. We will be making substitutions, and hopefully we're going to be consistent and actually keep up with the Formula One fantasy. We will also be showing Michael's team in a future video, so stay tuned for that. I hope my team is strong enough. But if you have any suggestions, if you have any advice on my team, don't hesitate to put it in the comments. I will read it and I will take heed to your advice because I really am trying to have a good team for my first ever season. So that's it for today's video. We will be having future content not only on fantasy football but for this Formula One fantasy. If you have any suggestions for future fantasy sports, let me know as well because I am trying to expand the types of fantasy sports that I play. So once again, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for supporting this channel, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. It will be greatly appreciated, and stay tuned for more content. Peace.